Welcome to the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Together we explore the vast landscapes of life, delving into the rich soil of experiences, sowing the seeds of curiosity, and harvesting the profound wisdom that each episode unfolds. Welcome to another podcast of Harvesting Wisdom. I'm your host, Mike McMahon. Today I am traveling through the Baltic countries, starting in Lithuania. I'm here with Niels. Last name is Petra.
It's Putzman.
Putzman.
Putzman. It's a German name, in fact.
Putzman, okay. And you're gracious enough to have us here today. And I want to talk a little about your story, but let's start with, how you started doing what you're doing. What brought you to doing what you're doing? Where did you go to school? What did you, did you live out on a farm? Did you cook? I mean, and I know you're from Denmark originally, right?
Completely true. But first of all, welcome, Mike. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
In Lithuania.
I love it.
Even
it's
because
beautiful.
of the weather.
It's like a
you're
magical
completely wet,
city.
but
Yeah, I'm a little wet still.
yeah, the weather is not too good, but what does it matter if we have a good talk?
That's right. Yeah.
No, yeah, you're right. I'm born in Denmark way back in time. In fact, in 1958.
Okay.
In a very, very small rural village. And I'm born on a mini farm. I think it was 12 hectares. Sometime I discussed
That's
with
nice.
my
That's good size, actually.
dad if it was 8 or 12, but okay, I stay to my dad's story, so it's probably 12.
Okay.
But it was in the time where a farm by itself was organic, because it was before the chemicals.
Right.
He never knew it, but the word was not invented at that time, organic farm. But it was a very small farm, and we had those 12 hectares, but somehow they managed to have pigs, cows, horses,
Diversified.
chickens, they had crop rotation, all the things we are talking about nowadays, in fact, existed at that small farm. So I was born and raised there, and truly believed I should be a farmer.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 2 sisters, yeah. So I'm the oldest one.
And you're the one who liked the farming?
Yeah, I was, and I truly believed I should follow that route. But then it was not really working out for different reasons. So I became a joiner and worked with wood for almost 40 years. Started my first company, a construction company, when I was 24 years old.
Wow.
7 years later, acquired a bankrupt window manufacturing company doing wood windows and doors.
Oh.
So somehow I always had something to do with something that aligned very well with nature, if not wood farming. But then it became let's say, so successful, the window company, somebody came and want to acquire it. So I sold it in 2005.
Now this was back in Denmark still?
It was still back in Denmark.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still in Denmark, sorry.
Okay.
Maybe I should make that a bit more clear, but it's still in Denmark, and some Swedish guys came in 2005, and they had a strategy to consolidate the Nordic countries with window production.
Wow.
And I thought that's a good place for my company, also looking into the future. I couldn't see any better future for it, so I agreed to sell it. And then I worked as an employee for 5 years, between 5 and 10. I never did that before, more or less. I always had my own things, but it was a time where I learned a lot about, let's say, business on a bit higher level.
Yeah. Okay.
So I enjoyed that time a lot, because I learned every day, and I was in fact allowed to expand the company. We bought other companies in Denmark. I became chairman of our operation in UK and Ireland. Altogether, I had a fantastic time.
Yeah.
But it was never the plan I should stay so long. And then in 2010, I decided to stop and sell the last shares I had in the company. And I thought I should be a sort of pensioner. I don't know, I had that illusion somehow. When I was very young, I told my dad that I wanted to retire when I was 40 years old. He never forgot that. And it's quite bad he never forgot it because he became 92. So I heard that again and again. Son, when are you going to retire? It really never happened, but I had that belief that I should maybe become a little bit more passive. But then, since we had, in the winter time, we had a daughter company in Lithuania, probably one of the first back office or shared service centers in Lithuania, most likely the first. I was dragged back after 10, 11. People presented me for different kind of ideas to invest into. That happens when you get a bit
That's
money
right.
of what you are selling.
Watch out.
Then, yeah. So, but it happened that I said yes to a couple of those investments. One was a parking operator company. That's where I met my wife. In fact, she was the director in that company. And another one was one of the biggest bicycle producers in Europe. Also a turnaround story, like the window company I had done in Denmark.
Were you a bike rider? Did you ride bikes?
No, I didn't. You know, in Denmark, when you are young,
Everybody rides a bike.
Yeah. So never any sport or anything, but just like a transport tool.
Yeah, sure.
But I liked the idea, and I thought it's also aligning a little bit with sustainability and like everything I've been doing more or less.
Try to be frugal and sustainable with what you're doing.
So we acquired that company, and together with a local venture fund, we had it for 6 years. Made a good turnaround and sold it again in 2018. But that hardly explained how I came into food.
And that's 2018, and you were coming back. You were in Lithuania by then?
Yeah, I moved fully to Lithuania in 2013. Okay. So that was also around when we bought that bicycle company, 12, 13, I think. But at the same time, since I found my wife here and I understood I'm going to live here. In fact, I came together with my English bulldog, and he was the final decision maker. You know, one day I said, we can't travel forward, backward, William, every day. What about staying?
They say a man dies where a woman is born. Was your wife born here in Lithuania?
Yeah, she was here.
There you go.
Yeah. You can't move Lithuanian women out of Lithuania. It's impossible. It's like flowers, you know. They are growing in the soil. So it ended up I decided to move to Lithuania, and then we also decided to start to invest in property. And our first step into food again was a restaurant. The first property we acquired was prepared for a restaurant already.
Okay.
So I thought instead of just giving it for lease, let's give it a shot, let's try it. And I did it together with a local chef. And that was the point where I started to wonder a little bit about, in Denmark it was already on the agenda with organic food. And,
sure.
Yeah. But in Lithuania, it was non-existing at that time. I'm afraid nobody heard about organic food or farming.
Although there was still a lot of people doing it.
Yeah,
right?
But
on small scale.
Yeah, and definitely from a chef perspective, it didn't matter. They didn't care, and that made me wonder that. Maybe one day I could go back to farming, but it didn't happen right away. In fact, it happened when we got F&B contract on Hotel Pathé, where you are living right now. We got that we started in 2018, and from being 15 people in the restaurant business, suddenly we were 75, and then I thought, okay, now there's some perspective in going into farming again. But in the meantime, Ford and Horses in 1918, which is located in Centers Passage now.
Which is right here.
But they started in Hotel Pathé as a part of the F&B contract.
Wow.
And then I decided to acquire a farm, and we found a beautiful farm, 1 hour drive outside Vilnius, close to a small town called Ukmerke. And that's what became a farmer circle, or still is farmer circle.
So that's an hour away. How many hectares is that, did you say?
We have 650 hectares.
Oh,
it's
little
not a
bigger
big
than
one. It's a small farm in American terms, you know. But
well, 650, especially if you're doing organic, is quite a bit. How much
yeah,
is
but
still-
you know, I somehow decided that if we were going into farming, if we do it the same size as my dad farm, there's not much perspective in it. What can you?
Right.
You can't move a lot, and already at that time, you know, I understood what was the purpose of what we were doing. I simply want to promote more healthy food, more flavorful food.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to make that my last
Mission.
big job.
Maybe
in
not
this
last.
planet.
Your father made it to 92.
He did, yeah.
You got a long way to go. You got a couple more lives left
Let's
in
see.
you.
Let's see. I doubt, but anyway, I think it. You know, after being in business so many years, where everything, you know, at the end of the day, it's about money. It's really fulfilling to do something that's not
More important.
absolutely just about.
Well, you know, we talk about sustainability, and this is, I twist with it too, because I have two businesses.
Yeah.
And then I have my nonprofit.
Yeah.
And this podcast is part of the nonprofit. And we just did an environmental film festival.
Yeah.
With 230 films from around the world, 50 different countries. And we do student films at it too. So
Okay.
its films are 5 to 10 minutes long, but they're everywhere. I mean, from Ireland to Korea to Turkey, and the kids will come up with their own project. They'll talk about illegal dumping, but a lot is about agriculture. One of my companies is the soil company, so we make organic soils, and we pair that with the crops being grown in our soils. We got to the point where we can talk about farming now, but sustainability is really a simple term. If you can't make money at something, it's not sustainable. Who's going to carry on if you are not doing it? You know, who's going to keep putting the money in, right? So that's the big thing, and that's a business concept. I think a lot of nonprofits or a lot of people who have passion go into something, but they don't understand that it's not going to make it if it's not turning a profit, right?
Exactly.
So, and it's also part of keeping costs down. You don't want to waste any kind of product or anything, labor, anything you're doing. You know, so that's part of the thing. So you bought that farm. It was already an existing farm.
It was an existing farm, but let's say it's the third turnaround story in my life. First the window company, then the bicycle, and then the farm, because it was really worn down and everything was in very bad shape. It was not organic at all. So, and that was my ambition to do, you know, sustainable farming, which to me is regenerative, but it's also organic farming. It's like now we are talking about sustainable farming in two strings. Either it's no-till or minimum till, or it's organic farming. But the combination of the two is more rare. And I can tell you fucking what's more difficult. Yeah.
Well, the new buzz term, it's not new because it's been around a long time, is regenerative. And it's about that circle that you're talking about. So tell me a little more about the farmer's circle, because the idea is that we don't waste anything, right? Every product, whether it's horse manure or cow manure, or if it's crop residues or trees, everything waste gets put back into the soil. And then the food also then, gets eaten, and some of it gets converted to animal feed, and then any waste gets back in so that the circle is there. Is that what you mean by the farmer circle, or do you have a circle of farmers too?
The name have a double meaning. Farmer circle means a farm in balance with itself, where we actually don't really bring anything in from outside, very little at least. That's one way to understand it. The other way is a cooperation between farmers, a circle of farmers. So it has this double meaning, and that was the intention already from the start. But I told you it looks like there's different understandings of what's responsible farming, but I think the two strings are basically that you farm without adding fertilizers to the soil.
Chemical inputs.
Chemicals is a little bit different thing, because a lot claims that they are doing regenerative farming and still using chemicals, pesticides and that kind of things. But in my understanding, it's about repairing the soil, bring the soil back to life. And that's the difficult part of it. That's really the difficult part of it. And I didn't know how hard it would be at that time.
Oh, believe me.
I didn't know that I was walking into this valley of the death soil, When you start to stop adding fertilizer, artificial fertilizer, let's forget the chemicals a little bit, but then the soil have a year where it's like taking the last fumes out of the fertilizers. And it looks very okay the first year, but then it starts to go down like stone. And in year 5 or something, you're at the bottom. You're at the rock bottom of everything. And then you can see it start to come back, and you start to see life in the soil. And now we are entering year 8, exactly this season. Last season was pretty good. We have life back in the soil. So that's one side of it, but the other side is that to bring life back in the soil, you have to stop plowing for sure. You can live with a minimum intervention of the soil
up top.
You have to do it, because when you also stop using pesticides, etc., then you have the issue with the weeds. And there's only one way to control that. That's somehow mechanical interference. Then you can talk if you're going 5 centimeter, 8 centimeter, but it's something like that. And I compare it like what we did. If I have known it, I probably would have hesitated to do it at once, because we did it everywhere and we did both in one time. So I think it became like a drug addicted to stop taking drugs immediately. And then you have a
cold turkey.
Cold turkey. And then you really have a hard time. And if you don't have a bit funding behind you, you definitely would go bankrupt.
You can spend an awful lot of money doing this, right? So it's a transition, and this is one of the things that I do, because I do the soil. So it's actually bringing biology back to the soil. And then there are organic, I'm going to use the term organic because there's all these terms in agriculture. One of the books that I'm hope will finish talks about 7 pillars of agriculture, but it's the idea of the biology is the biology will actually do what you need it to do. It'll do its tilling. It'll do, but you still need some inputs. And our inputs though are organic, wood or animal feed, that sort of thing. Are you using composting?
Yeah, you see, then I have to explain what we actually do at the farm.
Yes,
Because, we started a little bit in all directions. I knew we should have veggies because the restaurants, it's obvious.
Right. But that's a lot of acreage for veggies, right? You only need a few acres. For
it's really
veggies.
too much.
For a
but,
restaurant, you need almost nothing.
And then we tried a little bit with different kind of crops, but the combination of no chemicals and minimum intervention made it
A lot of work.
almost impossible also because we just went down. But from the start, we also introduced 100 angus at the farm because I know to make things work, you need animals.
That can control the weed right there.
It just took me a little bit while to understand that those angus should be the centerpiece of the farm. And when I realized that, it became much more easy. I'll get a little bit back to the reasons, but at the same time, we also introduced egg layers. So we have hens at the farm, and now we also have some sheep. It's not a major part, but you're right, we only have those 7-8 hectares with veggies. So the rest is in fact grazing for winter food, grassland for winter food, and
So
then
perennials,
for
perennials, grasses.
and then we have a rotation, a 4-year rotation so far. 2 years with winter food and 2 years for grazing. So we actually get the animals around all over the farm, because I think that's mandatory.
You got to keep
want to
moving.
keep it alive. So we found a crop rotation now that can be improved much more, but for the winter food, we start with rye and then wets, like the first cut, and then we underseed it basically with ryegrass and clover. And we winter seed, only seed in the winter time, and then we have a brilliant harvest.
Are you doing it like a wheat, like a winter wheat over barley?
Yeah, it's winter rye mostly. We also been trying a bit with oats. Didn't work so well. Next step is probably a crossover between wheat and rye. Tricale. I think that will be even better. But right now it's rye and wets.
And you're using the animals as well in the restaurant now.
Yeah, and since we realized that those angus are going to be the centerpiece forever, then we also built our own slaughterhouse and meat processing on the farm. So we are.
So, how many different businesses this is?
Yeah, I try to
more.
bring this along because
this is great.
probably when we are done with talking a little bit farming and this place, I can also tell a little bit about how we have been working with the full.
And this is a pretty
system.
Rural area. Not too many people living there.
At the farm, no, it's 10 kilometers away from a city with 25,000 people. So,
Okay.
but there's not many people living there.
Right. So you bring a lot of this material back in.
Yeah. So our slaughterhouse is that's where the animals are ending up at the end of the day. Sheep and angus
And you're making beer too? Is that a brewery?
Yeah, so you see on the top circle we have what's going on shortly on the farm. Then if you go to the bottom, you would see Centers Passage, and that's where we have our own bakery, we have our own retail butcher shop, we have our wine bar, we have our grocery shop, and then we have our 2 restaurants.
Now, are you trying to grow vineyard? Are you growing grapes?
No, but it's a part of the story anyway.
Sure. You've got the shop to drink.
Yeah, because I'll get a little bit back to that. So those two things, Farmer Circle and Centers Passage, is 100% owned by us. Besides that, 3 years ago, we are main investor in a vertical farm located in Vilnius, where we start to grow mostly salads, but now it's microgreens and sprouts.
Oh, great.
One of the biggest in Europe, if not the biggest, yeah.
Have you started with mushrooms at all?
No, not yet, maybe.
I think from the restaurant, that's wonderful.
There's space for that, but so that's a part of the family, and also based in Vilnius, Lithuania. But then we also moved a bit outside Lithuania back to Denmark. So our microbrewery is located in Copenhagen. It's called Brøl, which means raw. But it's also a short
It's like an unfiltered
bread and beer. So what we produce in Brøl is upcycled bread waste, pulp from juice production, etc. So it's also organic, and it's even B Corp certified. And then the newest part of our business is a catering company, also in Copenhagen.
Now, how many different people? You're not doing every one of these things,
There's,
right?
there's people in charge.
You find
everywhere,
people who are good at this and that, and you bring them in, and they
some
work
are the
together.
founders, some are in the two wholly owned company. Of course, it's people are found and employed by time. But Noon is a catering company based in Copenhagen. Probably for an American, you would not know what a catering company for office is, but in Denmark, it's a strong tradition that almost every bit larger company office who have offices, they also have catering, lunch catering for the staff. So Noon is delivering food for 3,000 people inside Copenhagen every day for lunch.
And their food, though, is also coming a lot from Denmark because it's closer, right?
Yeah, they are located in Denmark, but then comes the first part of our circle, because we have a lot of internal trade between these companies. For example, for Noon, we are shipping veggies, we are shipping meat to Copenhagen, mostly, and sometimes eggs and bread also.
And do you go across the water to do that on a ship, or do you fly it in? Or?
No, we are going with a ferry. Yeah.
Okay.
But we do it with our own van, so it's just. And why we do that is because we also import some food items from Denmark.
Sure, going back and forth.
Things we can't.
You can't come back empty.
No, and also because there are things in the Baltics that we can't find organic or they are not good enough. So, for example, cheeses are coming from Denmark, and some different kind of fish we are bringing back. And it sounds stupid, but also some veggies we can't find organic in Lithuania.
I believe it.
So that's also a part of the circle. So we are selling those cheeses and veggies in this location.
Do a lot of your chefs kind of drive it too? They say, "Hey, grow this for me."
Yeah, on the farm, to a certain degree. We still didn't found the formula with veggies. It don't really work too well for us. Our hens are working, the meat side is working, but we have to take a bit more into to veggies, how we make that work also financially. So because that's somehow the strain on the economy now.
Right. Yeah. Well, veggies are bacterial too.
Well,
veggies are more bacterial, and your area here is more fungal, being forest. So you have to change some of your soil practices for that. But also,
I met a very interesting potato farmer from Netherlands who he's doing wonderful stuff. But he gave me an idea. He said, "Why don't you introduce year 5 in your crop rotation? That would work perfect for most veggies. So after, let's say, 2 years of winter food, 2 years of cows, then take 1 year with growing veggies." So I think he's right.
Sure. Deep roots stuff,
Yeah.
legumes
Yeah.
at some point,
Yeah.
some kind of legume.
It's anyway mixed into our baking.
Right.
So I think that might be the solution on it.
So what kind of animals? You're saying you have cow.
Black
Sheep.
Angus here, and then black-headed German sheeps, and then we have egg layers, brown
Okay.
hens. Yeah.
No broilers, just the egg layers.
We couldn't make it work with broilers, unfortunately. Too many at the same time.
Oh,
The market can't absorb so many
got it. It's
organic
too much
chickens.
meat.
Yeah. At one time, yeah, we couldn't make it work. So, but eggs we are producing every day, that works much better.
Sure, you can use
Yeah.
eggs in anything, right?
Everything, yeah.
So
We are going to expand that, double it up next year. That's the plan.
So
This year, in
you
fact.
remember when you were young and you worked on your father's
Yeah.
12 acres, 12 hectares,
Yeah.
which is 20 acres or so. So that's a lot for a family to do.
Yeah.
There's a book that I read from 1850, before all of the Industrial Revolution, called 10 Acres Enough. And the idea was the family started with 1 acre and then expanded over a few years to get it to 10 acres. But they learned all of these biological tools, which would be composting and worm composting and using extracts. Do you use an extract at all? Any kind of?
Not at all. We are doing compost. We have 500 cows. They have a winter home. We have our hens. We have.
So you got plenty of
certain waste.
nitrogen.
We have plenty of compost. That's not an issue, for
Right.
sure. So we don't bring anything in and the soil start to show that it mends itself.
Yeah.
I believe it only work if you have animals into the rotation.
The animals
but,
are a big part of that regenerative concept. I'm reading now, which I wasn't 100% a believer in, but now I am, and it's a Korean guy took over from his father doing this years ago, and it's called Jadam, which is he makes everything, but it's got to be cheap. It's got to be less from the farm.
Yeah.
And he's got probably over 30 or 40 different organic, you'd call it organic for a better term, right? Pesticides and herbicides and fertilizers that he's making. And I've seen it in California. I went over to a friend's regenerative farm, and he's using these in addition to, using the composts and then using the extracts for your fertility. You do, at some point you have to control the weeds, and you got to control the bugs as well. And he's got a system. I'll show you that book, or I'll send it to you. It's funny because I'm paralleling, when I travel around the world, I parallel what I've seen in different places.
Yeah.
I do work in Africa, so I'm in Malawi doing stuff, and we're, everybody on the planet used to be an organic farmer. Like every
There
human.
was nothing else.
Right. Now 80% of us live in a city.
Yeah.
So we don't know what farming is. We don't know where food comes from. And because it's been replaced by a machine, an industrial machine.
There was no chemicals, artificial fertilizers 65 years ago.
Right.
Right, we're now.
World War
we're now
II kind of changed everything.
You know where those pesticides are coming from?
Yeah, it's started from bombs, extra bomb making material.
Yeah, or even worse, those mustard gases that were invented for warfare. It was a German guy who also got the Nobel Prize. First he invented ammonium.
Right.
And then he invented the mustard gases for World War I.
Right.
And of course there was a lot of sales in it because there was 2 world wars. But after the 2 world wars,
Yeah,
they didn't know what to do with it, so they replanted everything for agriculture. I think the American Agent Orange is quite similar story.
Yeah. Borlaug as well. I mean, there's a lot of
Used in
different.
Vietnam, and then later on it went into agriculture.
it works in the short run.
Yeah.
In the long run, though, we're seeing degraded soils and that sort of thing. Thank you for joining the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Click subscribe and like for ongoing insightful conversations. Explore our webpage for show notes and additional resources. Visit our guests' webpage for deeper insights. Your engagement is the foundation of our journey, and until next time, keep pursuing wisdom.